Welcome to Our Golden Plates, a weekly show about bringing people together through the gospel of Jesus Christ to share testimonies, spiritual experiences, and overall to remind everyone that though we may not be together in person, we are together in purpose. A reminder that all comments made in the chat must adhere to the house rules. Any violation of the house rules will result in immediate removal from the group. Welcome to our show.
Welcome everybody to Our Golden Plates. I'm Joey Gomez with my brother,
Charlie Gomez.
and today we have a very exciting and interesting show about self-reliance.
Yes, and so today we're actually going to be going over some of the best websites, apps, and as well as some of the other services that you may want to find out when planning your financial future.
So, today, as we go through the different applications as well as the resources, please don't forget that when we have these applications, you can download them on your phone, or you can look them up on your computer and follow along with us. We would just encourage you to also leave any comments you have below so that way we can follow up with you in the actual video. And with that, today we're going over financial planning.
Yeah, and so today we're going to start off by actually going over some applications, and so Joey's going to actually go over those, starting off with applications, and also I'm going to be covering some websites as well as some other financial services that you guys might want to look for when planning for this stuff. And this stuff is really important because, again, as Christ taught us, it's important for us to be self-reliant and also to be able to provide for ourselves. And so especially with everything going on right now in the craziness of the world, having that sense of financial security is super important. And so, again, this is totally important for you guys to know exactly how to be more financially secure. And so with that, we'll go into the applications.
That's right. So, I have today 3 applications, and the way that I separate them was by putting the least expensive, the most expensive, and somewhere in the happy middle. Now remember, you're able to get anything that you want. You're able to get any application that you want. There was so many applications, Charlie, I don't even know what to say about the number, but you can go on your phone and literally type in financial planner or financial budget, and it'll come up right for you. So the first one that I have today is one called Mint. Now, Mint is an application that is the best money management free application. Now,
Free.
yes. What's amazing about the app is that it's something that you can. They're the creators of QuickBooks and TurboTax came together and they created this app so that way people could take their difficulties with financial struggles, budgeting, be able to organize that budget and use their money in a smart way. Charlie actually has used this app before, so he's actually got more experience with it than I do.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, I'll be honest with you.
So, honestly, what does it do for you? Mint lets you take things like your bills that are due, money that you owe, things that you may not know how to save up for, and it just organizes a way for you to take that money, put it together, and then gives you a plan. And so a lot of times we spend maybe a huge chunk of time writing down, this is the expense A I have, this is expense B I have, this is expense C I have, and then we have to measure it up with what we want to purchase or what we want to do. Mint does it for you. Gets it all completed, literally just a click of a couple buttons and entering some numbers. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a huge time saver, Charlie.
I'll be honest with you, like, one of the main reasons why I use Mint is because I, like many of you, are probably really lazy. And so I love being able to just link my bank account to Mint and have it track all of my expenses for me. And that's one of the major features that I think separates this app from most others, is that you can literally track every one of your expenses that are going in and that are coming out of your bank account without you having to think about it. like without you having to actually log in. That's what I would say is the major benefit of using an application like this. Is Mint's not the only one, but it will allow you to be able to autonomously track your expenses and to be able to log all of that information, which is, I find, probably the hardest thing to do, especially when I'm trying to do my financial planning and setting a budget for myself.
Well, here's some other things that people might know about, may or may not know about the actual application. It allows you to connect to any financial institution in the U.S. So it provides you tips on how to save from your checking and savings account, your credit cards, your certificates of deposit. It tells you about rollovers, your RIA. These are all just technical terms, and I'm not going to get into all of it because that's for you to do, really. But as far as self-reliance is concerned, this is a very useful app. It allows you, a special feature it has, it'll let you see your credit score. It also, it's really, at any given time, can work across multiple different accounts. It's a very useful app. So moving on to my next app that I chose, it's kind of somewhere in the middle. That is the You Need a Budget app.
Pretty self-explanatory.
I know. It just makes sense, right? And the You Need a Budget app, unlike any other app, helps you stop living from paycheck to paycheck. It'll help you pay that debt, roll in, especially if you're like rolling with the punches of being hit by all these like economic difficulties. I know we're all still waiting for that what do we call it?
Stimulus check?
Stimulus check. I was going to say the Trump.
I got mine. Did you get yours?
Yeah.
Comment down below. Let us know.
I finally got it.
Some of
yesterday.
you all are still waiting, but
I know. Some of us are still waiting.
there's rumor there might be a second one, so stay tuned.
I know. We're all hoping for this check, which is so funny. But that's where saving and a budget comes into play. I'm not really thinking about getting it. I don't mind getting it, but I wasn't thinking about that in my actual budget. Now I have to kind of add it into. And this application, You Need a Budget, will be able to take whatever it is. If you get off track, let's say for that, again, that thing that doesn't occasionally occur, you'll be able to put it in there. It helps you take different balances for your budget. It's got built-in. What's really interesting is it has a free and a pro version, right? You can stick with the free, and this is where it kind of is a happy medium. You can stick with the free version and work with that, but you can also switch to the pro version, right? You can go and you can pay, and it'll give you kind of an accountability partner to keep you on your toes. And sometimes that's what we need, kind of like a physical trainer or somebody that's able to look over our finances for us. And Charlie will kind of get more into that as we get along. So it'll cost you around something like $11.99 per month, or they have an annual plan for $84. But what I would say about this app that's very unique is that not only can you set up a weekly, monthly budget, but all your personal finances, especially if you need to set up budgets for individual projects, or maybe you have to save for that Christmas gift, it gives you a way to organize that and put it all into one central location and keep you on your toes, but also give you the opportunity to keep track of your money. The last one, which is the big spender, quote unquote, it's still technically free for trial, but it's one that's becoming more well known, and it's called Truebill. And Truebill is an application that's kind of intuitive with your monthly bill organizer. You start off with kind of a free trial, but Truebill kind of has like this secret kind of underlying thing that it does. It really does everything that we just kind of went over. So there's not really a need for me to go into what it specifically does, because it does pretty much everything that the other applications does. But what it will do is it will proactively track your spending and expenses and give you a highlighting tool of your trends. So if you're like some people I know that love makeup or love to purchase that new.
Not me.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe that's what your love is. Maybe you like the next book, or maybe you prefer sports channels, or you like to go and
that I do enjoy.
Well, yeah, I mean, whatever it is your expenses in, it's going to track on where your money is going. So I think that that's a really resourceful tool. Even though a lot of the other apps use that, it's really not something that we commonly get to see all the time. So for everyday use, I have to say this. There is this part where for every dollar that you save from Truebill, the company actually wants 40% of that savings in a fee. So you get your money's worth, right? But in saving, you kind of have to pay from that savings as well. So maybe for some people that's not as of an interest. Maybe that's why you go to another one that we've gone over. Not saying that it's a bad app, because honestly, you get your money's worth, right? You pay for it, and then you keep saving money. It depends on what best fits you, because you might be the kind of person that says, well, I need somebody to be on top of me. I'm the kind of person that needs an accountability piece. So maybe I might have somebody that's working through Truebill that's helping me, or using that Truebill app to help me, so I can make sure my bills are staying on top one of another. But what is that really the principle of? That accountability piece, Charlie, is really a piece that Heavenly Father wants us to teach, to be self-reliant. We're accountable technically to Him and everything that He does. And so I did the apps part. Now we're going to talk about the non-apps.
Yep. And so just kind of going off of that as well, guys. So the main important thing that we want you to remember is this is all dependent upon your needs, right? Like, you as a person may feel more intuitive, or you may feel that you are more independent, and maybe you just like to do things on your own, right? Like, and there's nothing wrong about that. Again, there really isn't a right way of doing this. However, I would just, again, recommend you to take the time to do your research on which of these apps best fits your needs as far as your financial goals. And if you haven't already set those financial goals, take the time that you need to be able to establish those. And these are things that are important, because especially planning for times like these and planning for future opportunities like your retirement, or spending more time with family, or just taking advantage of other opportunities that you may not know that exist that could actually earn you money while you sleep.
Right.
Like, these are awesome opportunities, and especially now in this type of era where everyone wants a side hustle. And so these are especially important for you guys to plan out your financial goals, sit down and talk to somebody about them, or at least, as Joey said, have somebody that can hold you accountable, whether that's a family member, friend, coworker, whoever that is. Share these goals with people, because in sharing those are going to help you to stay more accountable of your actual goals. With that, we are going to actually go into the best services that you can use on your own as far as websites. And so the first one that I would actually recommend is a website called NerdWallet. Now, if you haven't heard of NerdWallet, NerdWallet is awesome. And the reason why I love NerdWallet is because it gives you sound financial advice from professionals. And so if you actually go to their website, you're going to actually find under the money section, they have tons of different applications, and I'll show you here on screen. They have how to build a budget, best budgeting and savings tools, budget calculator, how to track your expenses, how to save money, trick yourself into saving, how to cut the cable cord, right? Again, all these things are super important resources that you have at your disposal for free. And so I think it's really awesome that NerdWallet would be willing to provide all this information. They do have access to other services if you want to check those out. And that actually leads to my second point, which is if you don't feel very confident in doing this on your own, reach out to a financial planner, right? And so there is especially tons of services out there, but I'd say the top two that I would recommend is actually a company called Bright House Financial. And if you haven't heard of them, if you've heard of MetLife, MetLife was actually the former entity before Bright House Financial took over. And so really sound financial planning services that you can find out and learn about. And they also have a lot of self-education that you can go through. And so they have things like retirement planning, retirement lifestyle, healthcare planning, retirement income solutions. You know, that's a huge thing that a lot of retirees kind of worry about, is that once they actually get retired, well, how do you maintain the amount of money that actually comes in and goes out? Wow. And that in and of itself is a huge burden sometimes, especially some things that maybe you haven't ever thought about. If you're close to the age of retirement, you do need to, again, have at least an estimate of your monthly expenses and your monthly income and output as you go through the retirement phase, right? Wow. And so, which leads me to my next one, which is actually Northwestern Mutual. Now, I've had a personal conversation with Northwestern Mutual, and I actually would highly recommend their services because they do give you pretty sound advice. Again, they themselves have things like estate planning, long-term care, business services that you can, and they also go a step further and actually help you plan your investments. A lot of people don't actually realize this, but part of retirement and financial planning could actually be investing in other opportunities like the stock market, or just having a weekly sit down with these financial advisors to look and research areas where you could put money, so that way that money works for you.
Wow, guys. I mean, that was so awesome. Seriously, it's just a click away. And that was so informative. So think about it, guys. And I wanted to share a personal story to kind of move forward with this. And that personal story has to do with my wife and I, and when we first got married. And maybe you're finding yourself in the same situation. Maybe you've been married for 20-something years, and you're in a situation where you're just not financially healthy. It's literally eating
Belt's kind of tight.
Yes, the bills are stacking up. Things are happening. The biggest thing that helped my wife and I to be successful financially in any endeavor has always been that we were able to take the finances that we had and determine a plan for our spending habits. We had to be willing to sacrifice some of our spending leisures and likes in order to attain financial health. And how does that parallel with our golden plates? The real answer is sacrifice. The Savior has taught us that, or is just the ultimate example of what sacrifice looks like and what we attain when we sacrifice something. So maybe we like to go out with our brothers and sisters to eat on the weekends. It's perfectly fine. I don't see any problem with that. But we think, I'm going to drop $50 on this meal, just for myself. Well, maybe you don't have to feel that necessity all the time. Or maybe you're concerned about, can I buy enough Christmas gifts this year, even though I didn't set aside a budget? You got to really think about what that looks like. And so you have to sit down with your spouse, and you have to be willing to have an open conversation about what money you do have and how can it be used in the right way, so that way you can reach those goals. We've had great Christmases, and yes, they did include gifts, but that took planning on our part and savings and a willingness to sacrifice things that we may have liked up front to get us to the point where we were able to enjoy the things later on. And so some examples for me have included trips to California, annual passes to Disneyland, nice fancy ring for my wife, and I'm just throwing out things.
Pretty thick, I'll be honest.
Well, these are things that I want for my wife, and I want her to enjoy, but that came at a sacrifice in some other areas that maybe she wanted to go and do a certain activity or enjoy certain things, and she was willing to do that. And I'm so grateful that I have a companion that's willing to sit down and have that open discussion with me. Because if I don't, and remember, companionship, when you have somebody in your life that you want to support and you cherish, you'll make sure that you work together on financial stability. And so I can really testify that if we lean on the Savior's shoulders with their finances and we use whatever we're directing to build up his kingdom, it's really just in our best interest.
Yep. I mean, guys, Dave Ramsey said it best. To live like no one else, you have to be willing to live like no one else. And that is a principle that I've always tried to live, and I think that the Savior taught it best. With that, we have a very special guest with us. As promised, we had the winner of our contest with us. Terry Carroll is going to be joining us, and so she's actually here. That's why we're live here from our living room, and we're going to be bringing her on the show, and she's going to share some thoughts with us. And so with that, we'll bring her on.
Come on in, Mama.
Woo!
It's not every day you get to have your mom on your podcast / television show with you, so YouTube show, right?
Take a picture of us.
Well, you don't have to. It's already rolling. Yeah. Alrighty. So with that, we just had a couple questions with you, for you, Terry. So let's just talk about your experience with Our Golden Plates and just tell us why you feel it's so important to bring people together. Why do you think that why do you think it's so important that people come together through the gospel of Jesus Christ?
Thanks for asking that. Well, first of all, welcome. Welcome to my home, to our home. If my sons didn't take the time to tell you that, I hope you know that you're always welcome here. And that's an important part of who we are as a family. When I first bought this home, it was part of a decision that we made as a family. And it was also, we dedicated our home to be open to others, to be able to come here and be able to feel comfortable. We've had many opportunities to have people from all over the world come and visit us and stay with us. And it's always been a blessing for us. And the reason I mention that is I think that our Golden Plates is kind of like that. You talked about not wanting to exclude, but more so include others and be open and allow others to come into the gospel. And so, as a mom, you always want to support your kids in what they're doing. Obviously, you want that #proud mama moment. But as I saw you guys taking the time to put together this program and the things that you've spent time doing, I was like, wow, I can support them by giving them a cheer here and there. I'm pretty loud when I shout, if you haven't heard me before.
Should have heard her at my football games.
But, how can I best support them in what their endeavors are? And so I thought, well, they've asked us to invite others to come in and join the group. I thought, well, that's something I can do. And so I thought, okay, I'll join I'll send this to a couple of people. A few of you came to my mind and I sent you invitations. And then they made it a contest. And, I got to be honest, I am a little competitive, but in a good way. But more importantly, I thought, all right, I've been challenged to think out of my comfort zone, to invite people that I might not normally do so. And I hope that you all know that it's really not a hard thing to do. Just go onto that invite button and look and see through your list of friends, somebody that you think might be helped or supported, or maybe, just hear something here in this podcast or whatever it is we're doing here, videos that will feel supported, or find some golden nugget that will help them as they're moving along. Sometimes people might come and they're not having a great time. They might be having struggles. One of the things we were talking about this morning, and you were talking about our Come Follow Me, of mourning with those who mourn, and supporting those who need support. And so that's something that I think that is really accomplished by reaching out and inviting others to come and join.
Thank you, Mom. I love saying that. The thing that I wanted to ask you is about how you are very empowered when you invite people. Hundreds, if you guys could actually see the hundreds of people that were able to come on board.
It's
just
up
from
there.
Yeah, it's astounding, and we're very grateful. And more so, what I really wanted to take from you, because obviously the proof is in the pudding, is how do you get the courage to be able to go up to somebody and invite? Because inviting is a very powerful tool. And regardless if it's on our channel or if it's to something in the gospel, whatever it is that we do to invite, and whatever it could be to support others in coming into the gospel, or especially in uniting, how have you found a way that you're comfortable with sharing with people things? Because this is an opportunity to invite people to join in and to learn. What have you done that's given you that kind of strength or personal will to say, you know what, I'm not afraid of what could be. I just know that that's what I can do to help.
Well, something I was actually telling a friend of mine the other day, and this is might not be like other people, but I had an experience when I was in first grade. I was the very busy chatty Cathy of the first grade in Mrs. Thornton Davis's class at Catalina Elementary.
Classic name there.
Thornton Davis.
And every Friday there was movies for everybody to watch. But if you were talking during the week, or you were found to be, talking or not focusing on what the teacher thought you should, you wouldn't get a chance to watch the movies. And I remember talking to my teacher saying it's not fair that I don't get to watch the movies. And she told me very clearly, well, you talk so much and you spend so much time making friends that those are things that are not going to be helpful for you in long life. You need to focus on what you're doing in school. Now imagine I was in first grade and I'm getting this lesson. And so that's the only way you'll be able to watch the movies on Fridays. And I was like, I'm not going to let her tell me what I'm going to do in life. I guess I was a rebellious soul even from the beginning. But I thought, I'm going to always talk and always invite and always, be that person. And that's kind of, I actually saw her when I was an adult, Mrs. Thorne. I can't say that she's a thorn in my side, but that would be a good way of putting it. And she said, I remember you. You were the one that wouldn't stop talking. And I said, I remember you. You were the one that made a wrong choice.
Oh.
So with that,
Please apply water to the burn.
what I want to say is not everybody has that experience in childhood. Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts, some people have a lot of individuals they interact with. I can recall on my mission, people would have a lot, they would invite their friends, to come to church. But they might be hesitant to invite them to something else, or they might invite them to play soccer, but they might not invite them to come to an activity. I've never been one that's hesitated to invite, but that's part of who I am as a person. Mm-hmm. But the important thing is Christ has invited all of us to come unto him. In our lessons that we have available through the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we have a lesson manual called Come Follow Me. And really what we're doing in inviting people to a thing like this, or to a gospel discussion, or just to invite them to be part of our community. What we're doing is we're showing how we can follow him. And just don't be afraid. Don't hesitate. Just know that there's going to be people that'll be, no, I'm not at all interested. And there's others that might be, well, maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll see what this is about. I think more people are pleased to know that you would be open and willing to invite than would be, don't ever ask me to do that again. So that's what I would say about that, Joey.
Thank you. I wanted to say that you may not recognize it, but you fostered a lot of courage in us just to be here, to be able to be in front of a camera, to share what we know, to take the time to find out this information, to share with people,
now I'm going to cry.
And, that is what, dang it, Mom. I mean, the thing of it is that we hope you guys know that we're a community with you, and you guys can feel that in our show. And, we share all this information because deep down inside, we know the greater purpose here. We understand what it is, and we hope that we can take it just that much farther and kind of move forward from there. And we hope that you have the courage to just continually invite people to come to our group, to go to activities that would just uplift them and really work on that component of, even though we're not together in person, we are together in purpose.
And with that, guys, we will close. We're super grateful to have had you guys. And again, just as Joey said, remember, even though we're not together in person, we are together in purpose.